hand as she prepared to address the team. John took a moment to observe the room, noting the uncertainty in some of their eyes. He knew this meeting wasn't just about logistics, it was about rebuilding trust and redefining what it meant to work for his brand. "Thank you all for coming," John began, his voice calm but commanding. "I understand that recent events have been unsettling, and I want to address them openly with you." The room fell silent, every eye on him. Richard is no longer with the company. This decision wasn't made lightly, but it was necessary to protect the integrity of our brand and ensure that we uphold the values we claim to stand for. He paused, letting his words sink in before continuing. "Luxury isn't exclusive, it's inclusive. Our customers don't come here just for products, they come for an experience. They come to feel valued, respected, and welcomed, regardless of who they are or how they present themselves. Unfortunately, that hasn't always been the case, and I take full responsibility for allowing it to happen under my watch." Sarah stepped forward slightly, her presence steady despite her earlier nerves. "As interim manager," she said, her tone warm yet professional, "my priority will be ensuring that everyone feels empowered to deliver exceptional service without judgment. We're going to implement new training programs focused on inclusivity and customer care, because every person who walks through those doors deserves nothing less than our best." John nodded in agreement, then turned back to the group. "This isn't just about fixing mistakes, it's about setting a standard. A standard that says we value people over appearances, kindness over assumptions, and respect above all else. I know change can be challenging, but I also know that each of you has the potential to make this store a shining example of what this brand truly represents." A young sales associate raised her hand hesitantly. "What happens if someone slips up? If old habits creep back in?" John appreciated the honesty of the question. "Mistakes will happen, that's part of being human. What matters is how we respond to them. Accountability is key. If issues arise, they'll be addressed promptly and constructively. But more importantly, I'm counting on all of you to hold each other accountable too. Together, we can create a culture where inclusivity isn't just a policy, it's a way of life." The staff exchanged glances, some nodding slowly, others visibly relaxing as the weight of uncertainty began to lift. One senior employee spoke up, his voice tinged with relief. "It's good to hear this, Mr. Bennett. Honestly, some of us have felt uneasy for a while now, like we weren't living up to the ideals we were supposed to represent. It's reassuring to know there's a plan moving forward." John smiled faintly, grateful for the candid feedback. "That's exactly why we're having this conversation today. Change starts with transparency and collaboration. Sarah will lead the charge, and I'll be actively involved to support her and all of you. Let's turn this moment into an opportunity, to not only improve but to excel." By the end of the meeting, the atmosphere had shifted noticeably. The initial tension gave way to cautious optimism, and several employees approached Sarah afterward to express their willingness to embrace the changes. As John watched the interactions unfold, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. This wasn't just about one store, it was about fostering a ripple effect across the entire brand. Later that evening, as John reviewed the day's notes in his office, he reflected on the journey ahead. Firing Richard had been a difficult but necessary step, and promoting Sarah signaled a commitment to leadership rooted in empathy and integrity. The road to transformation wouldn't be easy, but John believed deeply in the power of collective effort. With the right people in place and a shared vision for the future, he was confident that his company could become more than just a luxury retailer, it could become a beacon of respect, inclusivity, and humanity. As he turned off the lights and left the office, John reminded himself of the mantra that had guided him from the beginning: respect and integrity must always come first. And with that guiding principle firmly in mind, he stepped into the night, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Her hands betrayed a newfound confidence, more assured than they had been the day before. John rose to his feet, addressing the room with quiet authority. "Thank you all for being here," he began, his voice calm yet steady, carrying an undercurrent of reassurance. "I know these past few days have been challenging, and I want to be completely transparent about what's happening. Richard Coleman is no longer with the company. His departure was necessary to realign our operations with the values we hold dear as a brand." A ripple of murmurs spread through the room. John could see the questions flickering in their eyes, uncertainty about what this meant for their futures at the store. He pressed on, locking eyes with as many of them as possible. "Let me make one thing crystal clear: your positions are secure. We deeply value each and every one of you and the work you do. However, we will be implementing some changes to ensure that our store becomes a welcoming environment for all customers, regardless of who they are or how they present themselves. This isn't just about sales, it's about building meaningful relationships and treating every person who walks through our doors with dignity and respect." Sarah stepped forward then, her voice unwavering as she took on her role as interim manager. "I'll be leading our team through these efforts. Our focus will be on enhancing customer service training, and I'll be working closely with each of you to ensure we understand what's expected moving forward. This isn't about assigning blame, it's about growth. It's about improving how we connect with our customers and creating a better experience for everyone." One of the sales associates, a young man named James, raised his hand. "What exactly does this training involve? And how long will it last?" John nodded toward Sarah, signaling her to take the lead. "The training will cover everything from greeting customers warmly to handling sensitive situations effectively," she explained. "It will include workshops on cultural awareness and inclusivity, equipping you with tools to provide exceptional service. We'll start with a series of short sessions over the next few weeks, followed by ongoing training throughout the year to keep us growing and learning together." James nodded, seeming satisfied with the answer. Another employee, Lisa, an older woman with years of experience, spoke up. "And what if we witness behavior that doesn't align with these values? Do we report it directly to you, Sarah?" John interjected smoothly. "You can report any concerns to Sarah, or come directly to me. My door is always open. These issues are taken seriously, and I want everyone to feel safe and supported when speaking up. Accountability and respect begin with all of us. Together, we're shaping a culture where those principles matter most." The staff exchanged glances, and John could sense a subtle shift in the atmosphere. The tension in the room began to dissolve, replaced by a cautious optimism. They weren't merely hearing about changes, they were becoming active participants in them. That involvement was crucial to rebuilding trust. "Any other questions?" John asked, scanning the room. Claire, a young cashier, tentatively raised her hand. "What if customers come in with the same attitude Richard had? How should we handle difficult situations where customers are rude or discriminatory?" Sarah responded thoughtfully. "That's an excellent question, Claire. Part of our training will address conflict resolution and de-escalation techniques. If you ever feel uncomfortable, or if a customer behaves inappropriately, don't hesitate to call on a manager. You're empowered to handle situations professionally, but remember, we're here to support you every step of the way." John added, "Remember, none of you are alone in this. We're a team, and we'll work together to ensure both our staff and customers feel respected and valued." The staff visibly relaxed, reassured by the clarity of the plan and the support being extended. John felt a wave of relief wash over him. He knew these changes wouldn't solve every issue overnight, but they marked the beginning of something important. For the store to truly become a place where everyone felt welcome and valued, it would require commitment, from every single person involved. "Thank you all for your time," John concluded. "I believe in each of you, and I know we can transform this store into a model of what our brand stands for. Let's work together to make that vision a reality." As the meeting adjourned, the staff began filing out. Some paused to ask Sarah quick follow-up questions, while others returned to their duties with renewed purpose. Watching them go, John felt a spark of hope. Promoting Sarah had been the right decision. Her leadership qualities shone brightly, qualities Richard had sorely lacked. More importantly, her connection with the team was undeniable. For the first time in days, John allowed himself to breathe easier. Change wasn't easy, but it was possible. And with the right people guiding the way, anything was within reach. Continue in your position would undermine the progress we've made. You had an opportunity to lead, Richard, but leadership isn't just about managing operations, it's about fostering respect, inclusivity, and integrity. Those values weren't reflected in your actions. Richard's shoulders slumped as the weight of John's words settled over him. He opened his mouth to speak, then closed it again, realizing there was little he could say to change John's mind. The room grew heavy with silence, broken only by the distant hum of activity from the store beyond. John continued, his tone softer but resolute, "I know this is difficult for you, Richard. I understand that change can be hard. But sometimes, the hardest decisions are necessary for growth, not just for individuals, but for organizations too. This company has a responsibility to uphold its principles, and I intend to honor that commitment fully." Richard nodded slowly, his pride wounded but unable to deny the truth in John's assessment. I see that now, he admitted reluctantly. But if there's ever another chance, any role where I can contribute, I'll take it seriously. I promise. John regarded Richard thoughtfully before responding. If you're truly committed to change, start by reflecting on what led to this moment. Growth begins internally. If you demonstrate genuine effort and alignment with our values moving forward, we may find ways to collaborate again. But until then, my focus remains on ensuring the team here succeeds without compromising who we are as a company. With that, John stood, signaling the end of their conversation. Richard remained seated for a moment longer, grappling with both the finality of John's decision and the flicker of hope buried within his closing remarks. Finally, he rose, straightened his posture, and extended his hand toward John. "Thank you for being honest with me, Mr. Bennett," Richard said, his voice steadier than before. "I won't make excuses for my past behavior, but I will work to improve, for myself and for anyone willing to give me another shot." John shook Richard's hand firmly, acknowledging the sincerity in his words. While he couldn't reverse his decision, he appreciated Richard's willingness to confront the situation head-on. It wasn't redemption yet, but it was a step, a small one, perhaps, but meaningful nonetheless. As Richard left the office, John returned to his desk, leaning back in his chair as he processed everything. Running a business wasn't just about profits or efficiency, it was about people, their potential, their struggles, and their capacity for transformation. Every decision carried consequences, some immediate and others far-reaching. Yet, John felt confident in the path he'd chosen. The changes at the store were beginning to take root, thanks largely to Sarah's leadership and the collective determination of the staff. James' enthusiasm during John's recent visit confirmed what he'd hoped: the culture was shifting. Employees weren't merely following policy, they were embracing the vision of a workplace built on mutual respect and shared purpose. Still, John knew challenges lay ahead. Not every employee would respond positively to the new direction, and not every manager across the company would share his unwavering commitment to these ideals. But he also recognized that lasting impact required persistence and patience. He glanced at the stack of reports on his desk, reminders of other stores needing attention, other teams requiring guidance. There would always be obstacles, moments of doubt, and individuals resistant to change. But those hurdles didn't deter him, they fueled him. Each challenge was an opportunity to reinforce the foundation he sought to build, a company where everyone felt valued, respected, and empowered. Picking up the first file, John allowed himself a brief smile. Change wasn't easy, nor was it quick. But with leaders like Sarah stepping up and employees like James championing the cause, he believed they could create something extraordinary. And that belief made all the difference.